Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? I'm going to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. And today, here's what we're talking about. The prayer that never got answered. Or did it? Guys, we're going to just kind of take one of the stories out of the Bible that people had been praying for, that they didn't know that they actually got answered. And it's a story that many of us know, but let's jump right into this. So check this out. So recently I was having a conversation. Someone said, man, I was asking questions, and as I'm asking questions, I'm getting some feedback. I'm not giving answers. I was only giving answers to questions that they were asking me. And so then we were finishing up, and then there was hey, I've got one last question. I was like, well, what's the last question? The person says, well, it's like, this prayer thing, I prayed, and, I got this thing with God, and I don't think he answered my prayer. And I was just like, wow, I was like, that's interesting. And so we didn't get a chance to really have a long conversation about it. But I did get a chance to kind of talk a little bit about, now, I'm not the guru here. I'm not trying to be a guru. I know just enough. I know just enough, right? God has given me just enough to have a conversation. And whatever that is, he gave it to me. So we had a conversation about it, but it just it sparked my interest in prayers being answered. And so that's probably why we're talking about this today, because it's easy to see that a prayer didn't get answered, because a lot of times when you pray, we have a preconceived notion of how the prayer should get answered. Like, say, for instance, if you just wanted something particular, you may be thinking about how it could come and how you could do it. It's kind of like, hey, if I'm going to buy my wife a car, right? Which I am. I'm going to buy my wife a car, but I'm telling God, hey, you're going to buy the car. Now, I don't know exactly how he's going to provide for the car, right? Because I just don't know. Now, I could sit there and try and figure out, well, how can, based on how I know how to do things, let me just kind of like push myself into how I'm going to buy it. But then I'm like, well, how would he buy it? How would he buy it? So a lot of times when we pray for something, we're talking to God about the things that we like, the things we desire, the things that we want, the things we like to change. The answer's probably going to come in a way that we wasn't looking. It's like, you could be praying for a job, right? You could be praying for a specific kind of job, and the job could come up differently, or the opportunity can come up way different. It may not come as a result of putting out your resume. It could come as a result of something totally different. So when we're thinking about prayers being answered, especially like today is the resurrection day, which I don't know that it was today, but I know that he did come back. So as we're praying, let's think about the Israel. I won't say Jewish, the Israelites, the chosen ones. Let's think about them and what they were praying for many years. They were praying that the prophecy that David, that this person the Messiah was going to come, and he's going to come from the bloodline of David. He's like the son of David. He's going to come, and he's going to take down all these people who have been messing with us, who've been keeping us down. That's what we're going to do. That's what they were believing. So they were praying, they were hoping, they were wishing for this to happen. Now let's ask, did their prayers get answered? And here's the thing, the prayers get answered. But the problem with their prayer being answered is that Okay, the Messiah, Jesus, the one, he didn't hang with the religious leaders. He didn't hang with the Pharisees. He didn't hang with the Sadducees. He wasn't on the Sanhedrin. He wasn't with the elites. He wasn't hanging out in the circles where all of the people who kind of like ran the show was. He was hanging out with the outcasts. He's hanging out with the fishermen who got bad mouths. He's hanging out with the tax collectors. He's hanging out with the prostitutes. He's hanging out with the lepers. He's hanging out with all the people that they're like, there's no way. So then when he shows up, their prayers got answered, but they didn't know it was being answered. He shows up, doesn't fit the mold of how the prayer doesn't fit the mold. They were praying. Now it doesn't fit the mold. And they're just like, wow, happy Easter, Lori. How are you? It didn't fit the mold. And so now they've been praying all these years. They're praying that, listen, he's going to come. He's going to take down everybody. None of that happened. Totally opposite, totally different. And they couldn't see it. See, guys, when we pray, we're giving God the opportunity to do something. What are we giving God the opportunity to do? We're giving God the opportunity to rip away everything that does not need to be where we are. And here's how I explain that. Think of a breakthrough. Typically, when you have a breakthrough, it comes from a breakdown. Yes, it came from a breakdown. So when I think about my own breakthrough and the breakdown, I was in a breakdown. Look, if God would have blessed me tremendously, if God would have answered the prayers that I had prior to 2000, and I would say, just say prior to 2012, if he would, no, not 2012, if he would have answered all the prayers that I had from, say, up until 2009, if he would have answered my prayers, I wouldn't be here. Why? I don't know. I could be in jail. I could be because I was doing dumb stuff. I don't know. Maybe I lost my life. Who knows? But if he would have answered my prayers for what it is that I did, most is that God, I'd like to be a millionaire. Come on, that's just me. I don't know about you. I wanted to be a millionaire, and I was going towards it. And if things was happening, I had to go through a breakdown. I had to rip away everything because, like, man, if he's going to be a millionaire, there's no way. This is not going to be sustainable. He's going to lose. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if God did it that way, but after coming through the breakdown, you know what? I say to myself, well, it wasn't until I came out of it that I could see backward. And I could say, yeah, he probably had his hand there because he knew that I would have to have gone through. Think about your own life now. He knew that I would have to at least seen the worst, the terrible, the bad in order to see the good that he had, right? See, because guys, when we pray, sometimes you're like, man, he didn't answer my prayer. It doesn't seem like he's even listening. Like, I've heard this. I don't know if God's listening to me anymore. Well, here's a statement that I heard some months ago. God has already said everything in you that he will ever say to you. What? He said it in you already. He don't got to come back and keep saying the same thing. He's spoken over our life already. He's already spoke the word of life. He's already spoke the word of success and prosperity. He's already spoke all those words. Now we have to catch up to God. So if we're thinking about these prayers that didn't get answered, or the prayers that just if you seem to be praying the same prayers, it's like weird. It's weird. Like, dang, my same prayers, man. Well, what do you have today? Where are we going today? Because yesterday is gone. I can't go back to yesterday. And tomorrow, I don't even need to think about tomorrow because today is all that matters. So this is that season where everyone's looking backward. Yeah, I'm being honest. Everyone's looking backwards. They're talking about the resurrection. And Jesus said, why y'all talking about? I can guarantee. He said, why y'all still talking about that? Why y'all not out there in the purpose for which I created you? Why y'all not out there discovering all the new things that I'm doing? I'm doing the new things. See, God does not want us to keep commemorating things of the past. I'm telling you, I'm not saying we shouldn't remember it. What I'm saying is that We've memorialized it. We've memorialized things that I can guarantee you, man. I can almost see God like, why they keep doing, why are they so far into this? One, because guys, let me be honest, we we're living the traditions of the pagans. That's what we do. And we have to really recognize that if God is going to really work with us, answer our prayers, take us into new heights, we might have to allow God to shed things from us, take things away from us that really don't get us to where He is trying to take us. You know, when I think about the young lady that asked me that was talking to me about the fact that she almost upset at God because He didn't answer her prayers. She never heard back from Him. Hey, you ever, called somebody and never called you back? That's in essence what she was telling me. He just never called me back. And what I've discovered about just that whole, someone doesn't call you back, it's not that they didn't want to call you back. It's not that they didn't want to call you back. Really, is it that important? If it's that important, you may have to really search. You may have to really seek. You may have to really knock on the door so hard that they have to answer the phone. They have to answer the door. They have to show up. God, see, because God is one of these guys. He says, well, look, if you're not seeking for me, then you ain't gonna find me. If you ain't knocking, then I ain't gonna answer. Like, if you're not really coming after me, if you're not asking to the point where you aren't willing to give up, then it's almost like, well, you gave up too soon. We gave up too soon. So God will always answer our prayer. And before you pray is when He answered. Before you pray. Think about what God has done right here on the Count for Your Life podcast. I'm gonna think about what, and as I share that story, I'm gonna let you go. Here's what God did. Have you ever started doing something that you just didn't believe you could do? You didn't know that you had it in you. It's just like I'm driving from the supermarket this morning, and I'm like, I don't even know what's coming out of me today. Real talk. I don't even know what's coming out because I say, He's already put it in. See, because now I'm not the answer to my own prayer. Can I get a witness here? You cannot answer your own prayer. You are the answer for someone else's prayers. So God looks at your life and says, wow, Lori's still here. Lori, oh my goodness. I put that thing on your face that, when I put that thing in your mouth and I put that thing in your eyes, that when people see it, they can see something new. Yeah, that's what God did. He's like, yeah, I'm going to put that thing on her. That it doesn't heal her. Uh-oh. No, it doesn't heal her. Lori may have to come to the Count for Life podcast it's almost like, yeah, we all need an inspiration. I get inspiration every day. Like every day, I have someone talking. I get people to talk in my ears every single day, every day. And because I get people to talk in my ears, then what happens is they are the answer to my prayer. And then I have to show up and be the answer to other people's prayers. See, what God puts on you and what God puts in you is because He says, man, all of these trees, your tree, all of these trees are going to bear fruit for me. Everyone's going to bear fruit. And that fruit, everyone's got a chance to eat of that fruit. And they're going to get a chance to, but someone might not like this fruit, and that's okay. But someone is going to like that fruit. So when we're talking about prayers not getting answered, that's false. Just about all prayers are answered. All prayers. Why? Because there's a person designed with the solution, with the answer directly in them. But it's up to that person to develop. You can't develop before you decide. You have to decide first. When you decide, then you go through a development process. And then from the development process, you find a disposition that is all you. And then when you realize, I was like, wow, this is who God created me to be. So everything that we're doing goes along with who God created us to be. And all we have to do now is take the part that God made, right? The part that God made in you is the most important piece. So if it's not fully developed, then today is your day. Today is the day where you say, you know what? I'm going to pray because I know God's going to answer this prayer. I'm going to pray that God helps me to fully develop who I am, to fully develop the fruit, the seed that's already planted so the fruit can come out. That is the prayer to pray today. Look, God's going to answer that prayer because he says, finally, a prayer that I know is answered. He already know that's answered because he's placed a reason in you. Now it just needs to be developed through your decision. Then you'll come to a disposition. And after that, you'll discover the difference that's in you. And then the world will be changed. Not the whole world, but the world that God's called you to. So I hope you got value today. And I hope you've liked, shared, commented on the broadcast as we share them. Also, guys, I'm not sure if you know, but we wrote the book Next Level Faith. Next Level Faith is a book that we published in 2021. I've done a terrible job letting people know about this book. You can find the book at nextlevelfaithglobal.com. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to this book, I'm gonna be honest, full transparency, you can get this book on Amazon. But here's the thing. You can get the book at Next Level Faith Global and get the audio book. So you can go to Amazon, you can get it direct there, or you can get it at Next Level Faith Global and you'll get the audio book immediately. So typically the book's going to come within 2 to 5 days. But if you want Next Level Faith, this is a great framework that it wasn't just me writing a book about my faith. It was a book written about several people's faith. And so from death to tragedy, to, to serious problems, to learning how to pray, COVID, all sorts of things. So check it out at nextlevelfaithglobal.com. And I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.